we do have an announcement of who made the Hall of Fame for 2023. Scott Rolen, the third baseman, one of the best third basemen, in my opinion. He deserves it. Long overdue. Is the only one to make it on the Baseball Writers of America 70.1 WAR in his career, 316 home runs, a 281 batting average, just shy of 2,100 hits. Scott Rolen was fantastic. And I'm talking about his offensive production. He might have been even better in defensive with his gloves, Sean. I know that you have a love for Rolen. We saw him with Toronto in 2008, 2009, and those 2 years. What's your thoughts on this addition of Scott Rolen going to Cooperstown?
I think it's well deserved. I really do. I think when you look back at over the last, number of years, have there been many better third basemen than Scott Rolen? And, you can get into the qualifications for a Hall of Fame or whatever, because I think each generation, each era is going to have a different kind of standard for who should get in, who doesn't. And in the era in which Scott Rolen played, he was a treat to watch. I just wish that I had paid attention a bit sooner, than when JP Ricciardi brought him to Toronto, called him a dirtbag and all that stuff. And I was like, what is he talking about? Plays the baseball the right way? What is that foolishness? Anyway, but man, he was a treat to watch, And not just, I guess how he played, but how he carried himself as well. That professionalism shines through when you look back on the film and all of that stuff. And when you look back on him, all up here in the old memory bank, Scott Rolen holds a special place for me. I love him, and it's about time. Well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very happy to see his name be enshrined in Cooperstown. We did have a few other players that were just shy of the 75% threshold. Wagner was very close to being another closer, another relief pitcher going into Cooperstown. Helton almost made it in. Gary Sheffield was close. Andrew Jones, 55-ish%. Yeah, that is the one that gets me. And I know that, I'm really happy for Rolen, but I hate the fact that there's, the writers only can decide to pick one player and send it in, and there's an opportunity to pick, I think, 10. I think that there should be a minimum threshold with there. Maybe if you don't have to pick 10, but I think you have to pick at least 5 in your votes to make a more a range out there. I don't know exactly what I want to do with that. Regardless, I think it's bad for the game that they're only letting one player in the Cooperstown on this type of ballot. Obviously, we know that Fred McGriff's going in with the other committee, but yeah, I would love to see Andrew Jones. I'd love to see everyone I just mentioned, Gary Sheffield, Todd Helton, Wagner as well. Gary Sheffield is a guy that when I was a kid, I mimicked his batting stance like no one's business. I mean, that was my backyard baseball batting stance, was the Gary Sheffield batting stance, no doubt. So shaking the bat, right? But Andrew Jones, in my opinion, is the one that was snubbed the most, without question. So I'm interested. What do you think about that? Who do you think was snubbed the most?
Yeah, it's a tough call, right? Because on the one hand, you've got you don't want to water down the Hall of Fame. You want it to be special, and only the special and the elite, or whatever you want to call it, get in. But on the other hand, you're snubbing a lot of people. There are a lot of people who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame who aren't. Dave Stieb at the top of my list, Carlos Delgado as well, but obviously I'm a little biased there. But Andrew Jones is one that I just don't understand. When he was watching him play from afar, there aren't too many people who were better than him on both sides of the ball when he played. And that, to me, that's a Hall of Famer. That's what you want in there. You don't want to water it down and, put we're going to talk about him later, but put someone like Brandon Drury in the Hall of Fame. But obviously, when you're talking about the best of their era, Andrew Jones, man, it doesn't get much better than him.
It really doesn't. And when you think about those Braves teams, he is right along in that conversation, along with Chipper Jones and those amazing pitching staffs. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So I'm with you. I think that we need to hear his name before he runs out of eligibility. He is trending in the right direction, just not fast enough, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens moving forward. I think I don't know. I think that there needs to be some sort of change with the vote. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know there needs to be some sort of change because we're still in an old system. where
Oh,
you were going off newspapers and hearsay. Now, because we can, every single writer, every single media member can watch every single game, even on replay. I think that they're using an outdated system. So there's something that needs to change. Not sure what it is, but something needs to change, Sean.
yeah, a flamethrower. Take a flamethrower to the whole process. It's absolutely ridiculous. The whole hype and how, and when you think about it, how is it that a Fred McGriff or Scott Rolen is a Hall of Famer today but wasn't previously? It just makes no sense to me. The whole system needs a flamethrower and start from scratch, if you ask me.